big breaking coming in. Shraddha's murder case. The accused Aaftab has confessed to the police that after chopping the body of Shraddha, he burnt her face to conceal her identity. He's also confessed that he had searched on the internet for multiple ways to dispose of the body parts after the murder. These are some really gruesome, chilling details coming to light on the way Aaftab has pulled off this murder. He's now confessed to the police that he's burnt Shraddha's face only to hide her identity after chopping it off. Cutting across to Akshay Dongre, joining us more on that. Akshay, this piece of news leaves me in shivers. Aftab claims that he's burnt the face of Shraddha to hide her identity, to conceal her identity, and then threw it at an undisclosed location. But tell us a little more on what his confession is, and has he confessed to where he's dumped the skull? Because the police seem to be still in search of it. They found a skull in Pandav Nagar, but is that Shraddha's?
Well, that is exactly the biggest challenge for the police, because Aftab is continuously changing his statements. Initially, he just spoke about dismembering her body. Now he's talking about burning her face. Then, and it is expected that he will continue to change statements, and that is the biggest worry for the police, that then maybe if he is presented in front of the court, in front of the judge, he can just take an entire U-turn and say that I did not kill her. She was not with me after a certain point of time. Then the police will be in sort of a spot where they will not have evidences enough to prove. And all of these confessions are coming in from the sources of police, where they are talking about, and the police officials who are in fact heading the investigation, they are telling us about all of these details. But all this has to be proven in front of a judge, and that is going to be a challenge. About the skull, he has not specified any locations. He's time and again the police officials, the police teams are in fact doing investigation in that particular forest where our colleagues are as well. Today the police in fact ramped up the investigation. They are removing the bushes there. They're looking for the bones. They're looking for the skull. That is going to be an extremely important piece of information. But all of these changing of statement clearly proves one point, that a psycho assessment test that is being sought by the Delhi police as well is extremely crucial to ensure that whatever information, whatever confession that Aftab is making, he is making in right state of mind. Because a person who can do all of these things, all of these horrifying things, he's not a normal mind. He can make and change statements. He's continuously taking U-turns from the earlier said statements. At times he says that he threw the phone of Shraddha Walkar in Mumbai. Then he will change his statement. Then he'll say that he threw the phone in Delhi. So all of these details will have to be corroborated by a psycho-assessment test. That becomes very important, and the police will also try and seek a narco test of Aftab, even though that will not be considered as an evidence, but that will in fact support the other evidences that are being gathered by the police teams and the statement that the neighbors, that the friends and the family members of Shraddha Walkar are making.
All right, from what we know now is that the police have managed to find a skull in Pandav Nagar, but to really establish if it is indeed Shraddha's, they're going to carry out a DNA test. Now, this will take time, but in the meanwhile, we believe that Aftab has confessed to the police that he's burnt Shraddha's face before disposing that skull off, only to conceal her identity. He's confessed that he had searched on the internet for different ways to dispose of body parts post the murder, and he's managed to do it successfully and got away with it 5 months. Clearly this man, Akshay, as we see, as much as he thinks he's so smart to pull off this murder, there was no trace for 5 months. Eventually, the police came knocking at his doors. And this man, we believe, has had no remorse initially. Not too sure what his state is right now. But while he was arrested, he seemed very confident, and as if there were false allegations leveled against him. Now, as and when the police investigate, he now, out of helplessness, is revealing one detail after the other. But just a quick word from you. Do we know if this skull that has been found in Pandav Nagar is burnt?
Well, no, Nabila. We are still trying to confirm that because the skull has been found, and the skull that has been found in Pandavnagar was also found somewhere around the same time when Shraddha was murdered. So it will be a task for the police to, in fact, gather enough DNA samples from that skull and first match the DNA of Shraddha Walkar's family and that particular skull that has been found. That is going to be extremely important because without a DNA analysis, any parts of bodies that as of now have been found, be it the forest or be it Pandavnagar, they cannot be established that they are of Shraddha Walkar. We are trying to confirm that one piece of information, that whether this skull was burned, or this is a very fresh statement, very fresh confession that has come from Aftab about burning that skull. Now that is extremely inhuman like the entire execution of crime, entire crime incident. This also just takes it to another low as far as barbarity is concerned. And the police right now, it's not just the common man that is in shivers after this sort of confession by Aftab, but even the police sources are saying that even they are shocked. They haven't seen any such crime where a man has gone to such lows to just get away with the evidences of the crime. And all this while, after murdering, he was working in a multinational company. He was working at a client servicing vertical in a private company in Gurgaon, where nobody, not even his colleagues, not even his team manager, nobody suspected a thing. And that in fact shows that how confident he was portraying to be while being a body, while there was a body in his room and he was going and working every day like business as usual, Nabila.